I'll just get into my takeaways right here. Part of me feels like this offensive performance for Ohio State was good for them. My partner Mike on the Ohio State Voice of College Football postgame show made the point, and I'll reiterate it here, but I want to give him credit. Like, Ohio State saw Tennessee's tempo. That got them ready for Oregon's tempo in that game. So then now you're getting yourself ready for a hard-nosed defense that's going to take away the big plays in Notre Dame by playing Texas, right? Who did just that in this game. And yes, Derby, I totally agree with you. Notre Dame's defense is elite. It's very, very good. Some people look at that score and say, well, they gave up 24 points to Penn State. But every single one of those 24 points was earned. And in Notre Dame's defense, even though their defensive line is not super big, like they're athletic and they're able to get around those blockers. So for Ohio State, I mean, obviously the defensive line is not the same, but the way they played defense, they had those safeties like 20 yards back, and there were a lot of Ohio State fans that were critical of Chip Kelly in the second quarter when the offense started to go south, saying like, and even Zach was saying it, oh, they're not doing that great of a job, and Chip Kelly is kind of reverting to what he did against Michigan and stuff like that. I didn't really see that. I felt like Ohio State's offense was just so undisciplined. The penalty by Trevion Henderson punching the defensive lineman. You had the false start. You had the holding. Like there were penalties there that the offense was having that just kept moving them back. And I pointed it out to people on Twitter. Like at one point during the second half, Ohio State had a third and average of 12 yards on third down. 3rd and 12 was their average, what they had to do on third down. Like, that's terrible. That is awful. If you find yourself in a situation where you are 3rd and 9 plus, well, that's what Ohio State was averaging on third down there toward the end of the second quarter and through most of the third quarter as well. I think they finished that way as well. I'll have to check to make sure I've got my advanced analytics here. Ohio State was average 3rd and 10 for the entire game. Like, I get it. I get a lot of people are upset with the play calling of Chip Kelly. I get, they're running into the middle of the defense a little too much, but like as a play caller, that's really, really hard to get through those situations when you are on 3rd and long that many times. Ohio State had 3 third down conversions out of 10 attempts. They only had 1 third down conversion between 3rd and short, which is 1 and 4 yards. The rest were between 5 and 7 yards, 2 other ones. They didn't have a single third down conversion on 9+ yards, and they had 4 of those in this game. So that was huge for them, and it really affected their play calling as well. So that's my first takeaway was penalties, drops as well. Ohio State had 4 drops in this game. I counted. The stat sheet I have said that they had only 2, but I'm going to count the drop that Jeremiah Smith had earlier in the game. Yes, he was fully extended up, but it still hit him in the hands. So as far as I'm concerned, if a ball hits you in the hands, it's a drop. Same thing happens similarly to Emeka Egbuka down the field. I believe that was in the 3rd quarter. No, it was on that scoring drive. So in the 4th quarter, I believe it was. Sorry, guys, I'm doing a lot of talking. Just got through a whole other show. Thankfully, that one was with another person. But they Emeka Egbuka drops that one. It was kind of knocked loose by the safety, but I felt like it wasn't knocked loose until the ball got through his hands. So again, as far as I'm concerned, like the ball hits you in the hands, it's a drop. So I counted 4 drops for Ohio State. 1 by Jeremiah Smith, 1 by Carnell Tate, which would have been a touchdown. Really wasn't a big deal because Quinshon Judkins ran it into the very next play. But then 2 by Emeka Egbuka in that game. One of them would have been a first down when they really needed it. So, that was huge. And then there was a play in the second quarter that it was a read play. And it was a very obvious give. But Will Howard pulled the read, and he just got swallowed up by like 3 Texas defenders right away. And Quinshon Judkins, if he would have taken it, he would have been one-on-one with the safety and would have been able to get to the end zone if he was able to juke the safety. So I felt like that was a big takeaway for me was how undisciplined Ohio State's offense was, not just in the first half, it continued into the second half as well. The penalty on Austin Seyerveld, that's the offensive lineman. That was the unsportsmanlike penalty where there was kind of a pile of Texas defenders. I think it was on first down. Will Howard threw the ball for like 15 yards, and there was a pile of Texas defenders with the wide receiver, and they keep trying to push him back, push him back, push him back. Apparently the whistle blows. I didn't hear it before it happened, but apparently the whistle blows, and then Austin Seyerveld goes in and basically just hits a pile of Texas guys and takes them out. So, I don't know. I guess if the whistle blew, it should be a flag, but felt like to me Texas was still playing in that situation. So if you got guys still playing, I don't know. To me, that's a big deal. Another takeaway that I had was Will Howard started trying to force the ball to Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith in this game, if I'm not mistaken, he did not have a single catch. Yes, he did not have. He had one catch for 3 yards. I apologize. I thought that was a run. He had one catch for 3 yards. He was targeted only 3 times in this game, and one of those targets was, like I said, the deep ball that he missed, and then the other one was the one that was an interception. And I felt like in that moment, that was when Will Howard was like, I got to get this guy involved. This guy's been huge for us all season. And then he throws an interception on the first drive of the second half. And I felt like that was impactful, that Ohio State, after that interception, did not go to him again. It wasn't at fault of Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith he was in a situation where they were not going to let Will Howard throw the ball to him. And Jeremiah Smith has said before, like, you just throw the ball up to me and I'll get it. Well, they threw the ball up to him on that one play and it went through his hands. So, excuse me. They threw the ball up to him on that one play and it went through his hands. So at a certain point, you got to get other guys involved, which they did. Carnell Tate was a leading receiver for 87 yards, 7 catches, 87 yards. Terry says, congrats, JR and OSU fans from an Indiana fan. Appreciate that, Terry. It'd have been cool to face off with Indiana in a national championship, but that's not the situation we find ourselves in. But how cool for Indiana, right? Their only 2 losses this season are the 2 teams in the national championship game. I don't know if that's cool, but that is absolutely crazy. Indiana, the team that Kirk Herbstreit said didn't belong in the playoffs, that other people said didn't belong in the playoffs, which I know some people who listen to this say they shouldn't, and that's fine. I understand what you're saying. But their only 2 losses on the season were to the 2 teams in the national championship. That's pretty crazy. Hummus Hero says, hey, JR, OHIO, Hummus Hero, appreciate you being here. I didn't know how many Buckeye fans we'd have in here with me coming on so late, but I appreciate all of you being here. So my next takeaway, Ohio State's 3 and outs killed them. Absolutely killed them. At the start of the second quarter, from the beginning of the second quarter, they did not have a single drive of 5 plays or more until the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter started with, the Texas punted right at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then Ohio State gets the ball on the 12, I think it was, and from there they had a 13-play, 88-yard drive. Up until that point, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They had 7 drives of 5 plays or less. Now, one of those plays was the screen pass to Travion Henderson that ran for a touchdown, so technically it was less than 5 plays. It was only 1 play, but still, they were not able to move the ball in the second quarter, and it felt like that was when Texas's defensive line and their Sonny says release the celebration video. If I get it loaded up, I got to get it loaded up. My phone is a little doesn't have the best service up here, but I'll do an ad here in a second after I get done with my takeaways, and I'll try to get it downloaded and loaded up. But I do have a celebration after Jack Sawyer got the touchdown there. So all right, I just downloaded it from my wife, so I'll get that loaded up when I'm done with my takeaways. But yeah, so they weren't able to get any drives going, and then they have that 13-play, 88-yard drive to get the touchdown. The Will Howard run, was that on 4th down or 3rd down? That was huge. He's been falling down all season. He looks super athletic at Kansas State, being able to run for these big, long gains and everything. Maybe it was just Big 12 defenses. I don't know if they're just that much slower or what, but Will Howard, he fell down on that one. I made a joke on the Ohio State show that he's been in such a good weight room with Ohio State that they got him too top heavy now. He's got too much shoulder muscle, too much chest muscle, too big of arms, and now he's too top heavy, so he's fallen over. But no, that's a joke. I don't know if that's true at all. But yeah, Ohio State in this game, they had 3 and outs. Texas only have 1 3 and out, and just absolutely crazy how much the defense of Ohio State was able to still play well even through that. And then the defense of Ohio State not being able to cover the running backs. On that drive, they never adjusted, and even on that play that they scored, Sonny Styles, who looked like he should have had the running back. I don't know if maybe they were doing something else different, or maybe there was a miscommunication. He blitzes, and so the running back runs out of the backfield, wide open, makes his way to the end zone. They found a weakness in Ohio State's defense there. Now Ohio State corrected it the very next drive, so a lot of credit goes to Ohio State to be able to correct that. Texas wasn't able to take that easy stuff the entire game, but man, that was critical for Texas to be able to score on that drive, being able to get the ball to the running backs, and they would have gotten them to the running backs even more if it wasn't for Ohio State knocking the ball down. Ohio State had 4 balls knocked down at the line of scrimmage by defensive linemen, so that's absolutely huge. And then Ohio State, their best part of the game, man, guys, that goal line defense. That goal line defense won Ohio State the game against Penn State earlier in the season. Sorry, Penn State fans. I know it's hard to bring up, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to pile on because I know you guys are going through it. Great season for Penn State, though, by the way. But that Penn State, that goal line defense against Penn State showed up, and then that was all I could think about when Texas got to the goal line. That's all I could think about was, all right, this goal line defense has been amazing all season long. It won a game for them earlier in the year. Can they replicate that? Can they do it again? Texas tries to run it up the middle. Nothing. They try a pitch play. One of my buddies, actually it was Sonny, I think, asked me, like, why are they running a pitch play? Why are they running it to the outside? There's some kind of crazy stat out there. I can't find it for sure, but there's some kind of crazy stat out there that, like, teams are only having success running the ball on the goal line 20% of the time, which if you know anything about run success rate means that they determine how many yards are needed to stay on schedule. So obviously on first down, on schedule is typically somewhere between 3 to 4 yards, just to that way kind of keep the drive going. If it's 3rd and 3, you need 3 yards. If it's 3rd and 1, it's 1 yard. And so if you get those yards, you have a success. So for within, I think it's 3 yards, teams are only having a successful run, which is a touchdown, against Ohio State 20% of the time. So Sark is really into numbers. He's one of those guys that really believes in that stuff. So what I think probably happened is I think Steve Sarkisian probably knew that number, and then he says, I'm not going to let them do it to us like they have other teams. I'm going to take the ball outside, maybe get them on the pitch play. It didn't work. Ohio State was able to make it happen, and just absolutely huge from them that they were able to do that. So, and then Jack Sawyer, obviously the defensive line for Ohio State played great all game. When they were getting pressure on Quinn Ewers, there was a lot of blitzing by Jim Knowles there for a while. I didn't think they needed it. I felt like they were getting pressure. Even when JT Tuimoloau was out, they were still getting pressure on Quinn Ewers. So to me, like, you didn't really need it, but just a fantastic game. And I felt like that was redemption for Jack. Obviously, Jack gets the interception against Michigan about a month or two ago, and the offense wasn't able to capitalize because of their struggles that day, and also just good defense by Michigan. But he doesn't even let it be the case this time. He just takes the ball, goes for the touchdown, runs 80-some yards through the eye of Texas, the heart of Texas, whatever you guys want to call it, and gets to the end zone. What a fantastic play. What a legacy play for Jack Sawyer and everything. I mean, just absolutely fantastic.